What do you know? What do you know, YouTube? Tell you what I know. We got some catching up to do. So I've decided I'm gonna change things up a little bit. I'm not gonna do a load update all the time or multiple times a week. I feel like the numbers are very important. Like whenever I decided to come over and run on the Schneider IC side, I was able to find some numbers, but a lot of it was like dated. There was still a few people that had some pretty recent numbers out there, but so like I said, I feel like doing the numbers is kind of important. It kind of lets people know what's possible, what the potential is, kind of what an average might be, but I don't think I'm going to do a load update multiple times a week anymore. What I have been doing is putting together some driving footage and stuff like that. Probably see that during the week for the most part. If I can get it to work, that's proven to be a little harder than what I thought it was going to be. Not necessarily on my end. Just for instance, I've got a video right now that's been sitting and that I posted over 24 hours ago, and YouTube still has not posted it. It's still showing to be pending or processing or something like that. So I guess those videos and the length of those videos, it takes a little longer for them to pop up. So there's always going to be some lag on those. But that is kind of something I wanted to do. I also want to do some outside the truck videos in the future. That's still to come. And I'll get to that stuff too as I kind of find my groove here, But with that being said, like I said, I'm still going to do the weekly recap. I feel like that's kind of important. I'm not going to quit doing that. I never intended on being the numbers guy though, and I kind of started feeling like that's where I was ending up at, and like I said, it's not really where I intended to end up at. So we're gonna pump the brakes a little bit on it and kind of refresh things a little bit. But without man, now I can't even talk. With that all being said, though, let's recap the week, though. So, I've already discussed the load out of Edmond, Oklahoma that went up to Kansas and then down to Kathleen, Georgia. Then from Kathleen, Georgia, we had the load that went to Dublin, Georgia, or I deadheaded over to Dublin, Georgia, and picked up a load and then went to Athens, Alabama. I've already covered those two loads. If you're interested in either one of those, about 2 or 3 videos back, depending on when this other video decides to post, you should be able to find those. Now, from that point, I ran from Athens, Alabama. I deadheaded 19 miles over to Decatur. From Decatur, I did a live load, and from Decatur, I ran 637 miles up to Romulus, Michigan. That was my weekend load. Total load was only 656 miles. I picked it up like Friday at lunch or something like that. So I didn't have a whole lot of miles to run this weekend. I ended up doing a 34-hour reset on Sunday, so didn't run any miles. But anyway, so the load going to Romulus, Michigan weighed, paperwork showed 29,000. It didn't quite feel like 29,000, but that's what the paperwork showed. So 656 miles, 29,000 pounds, and the load paid $1,352.43. Now that was a rate of 206 a mile. Now, not great, but it got me up into a little better area. So, delivered that load first thing this morning. With that being said, I almost knocked out 3 loads today. The one I'm sitting on right now, I decided to kind of sandbag it a little bit. We'll deliver it in the morning. I'm well ahead of schedule right now, so I didn't want to be looking for a parking spot late at night and racing my 14-hour clock. So anyway, delivered that load in Romulus, Michigan first thing this morning. Now from Romulus, I deadheaded 50 miles down to Toledo, Ohio. Did a live load there. And from Toledo, Ohio, I ran 134 miles to Columbus, Ohio, which was a drop and hook in Columbus, Ohio. That's 184 total miles. Load was posted at 31,246 pounds. Paid $634.15. That's a rate per mile of 344. So that's where my week ended at. For the numbers anyway. It's not where my week actually ended at, but the next load will be the very first load on next week. So, total miles for the week, 2,541 miles. Now, if any of y'all follow me for very long, you know that's nowhere near what I normally run. Normally it's north of 3,000 miles, but that was because, like I said, I sat all day Sunday, didn't do anything. So, and I had a couple little short hop loads. So, sometimes those loads have a tendency to take up a little more time, and you don't end up running a whole lot of miles on them. So, 2,541 total miles. Average weight this week was 28,360 pounds. So a little heavier than what I typically run, but it wasn't too bad actually. So average mile per gallon. This is something else. I'm not gonna do the whole every load. I'm just going to average it out over the week. It gets to be a little tedious trying to remember to reset every time you start a new load. I'm just going to reset at the beginning of each week, and then we'll just see where it ends up at by the end of the last load. So 7.6 miles per gallon is what I averaged this week. I had a lot of idling. That cold front came in, and once I came north out of Alabama, it was too cold that the bunk heater didn't stay up very well. So I had to use the electric HVAC system a lot, and whenever I use that, the truck just idles. Sometimes it'll shut off for a short period, but it'll kick back on and idle for a long period of time again. But so 7.6 ain't too bad considering all the idling I did. Total revenue for the week, $5,643.42. That's a rate per mile of $2.22 a mile this week. So, not a bad week. Definitely didn't set no records or anything like that, but very decent week. So, that's doable numbers. I'm not mad about it at all. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Last load was in Columbus, Ohio. I picked up another load, and y'all will have to wait till next week to see where I ended up at. So, Like always, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe. Y'all be safe, stay warm, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.